Hey, soul sister, do I have an episode for you? And this is truly the first time I've had this topic on Midlife Love Out Loud. I've got Julie Parker in the house. Hey, Julie.
Hey, Junie.
I'm excited to share with them this secret technique you have for online dating. And we will reveal what that secret is in a moment. But first, let me tell them a little bit about you. Julie is a dating consultant who helps single women sort through dating matches faster. Who doesn't want that? So they stop wasting time with the wrong people and avoid unnecessary drama so they can find their soulmate. Yes, the soul sister needs you. Yes, faster, easier, sorting through. Love it, love it, love it. With a special technique called face reading. Ha! That's so awesome. Okay, you got to tell us, how on earth did you find this technique and suddenly shift it into helping women, or not suddenly, but helping women with dating with this technique? Tell us a little bit more about your journey.
So several years ago, I was in a corporate position and I sort of stumbled upon it because I was stuck in this soul-sucking job.
Yeah.
And I knew there had to be something better for me in life, and that I had a higher purpose. So in a group coaching program, one of the girls that I was going to become a nutritional coach because I love all things food and all things healing. But anyway, one of the other people in the group we were in a Facebook group, and she posted in the group something about an author. So I went to the website and I found face reading on her site, and I was just blown away. I was like, what the heck is that? I was super intrigued. So I scheduled an appointment, had my face read, and what came out of that was like mind blowing. So many of us are on a path to figure out why certain things are happening in our life, how to change the trajectory or the journey that we're on, or why certain things are, why certain things about us bug us about ourselves. We're criticizing and judging ourselves for certain things. So in this reading, and I got to tell you, I've been to workshops and seminars and therapy and you name it, I've been there, done it. In this hour, she addressed all that stuff. So I was like, oh, there's a reason for this, and it's a good reason, and it's a positive. Wow. I've been judging and criticizing myself and just hiding behind it, and really it dampers your life when you're like shunning and shaming yourself for certain things.
Right?
Yeah. So she shed positive light on it, and she was like, this is a good thing, and here's why. And I was like, oh. So it gave like an inner confidence that I hadn't had before. And I was proud. I was like, oh, here we go. This is why this is happening. And this is why things are important to me. So I decided I asked her if she was teaching people how to do it. I was like, I gotta know more. So she had a workshop that was coming up in a couple of weeks, went out to that. It was a weekend workshop. Then she was doing a deeper intensive training, which was a 6-day full intensive training. It was amazing. Went to that. And then came back, and I was talking to her about it, and I was like, is it okay if I actually do this? She goes, I hate to toot my own horn, but you're really actually very good at this. She goes, go do it. You don't need my permission. Just go do it. So it was amazing. So I just started out doing regular generic readings, which I still do when people want them.
Sure.
But what has come up and what just really spoke to me, especially having gone through a relationship that was not going well, it helped me understand how to relate with him better and why certain things were happening with him. And I was like, okay, you can't ask a person to hug you if they don't have arms, right? So call a spade, and it helped, transition through the end of the relationship in a much better way. But also when meeting new people, oh my gosh, it just came up. People were asking me about people they were currently dating, people that they were considering dating. And I thought, okay, wow. Here we go. So it's just, it's been an amazing journey and a fascinating one.
Wow, that is so cool. And what I love what you just shared is it's not just about dating and finding somebody that's a fit. It's almost like a map to who they are, so that when you actually do find somebody, you actually know more about them. And I'm going to put my word into this, have compassion for
Yeah.
some of their wiring. Like we sometimes don't have compassion for ourselves, that's the shame. And so if we can go, oh, this is who we are, and we can own it, and you could see your partner or potential partner having certain aspects, there's more information to use.
Mhm.
That's amazing. Oh, I love it. So tell me about the dating journey. Like how do you actually help women figure out who's Mr. Right, who's Mr. Wrong, and how to stop wasting time? What do you actually show them and teach them?
Okay, so first what I do is find out what's important to them in a partner and in a partnership. Oftentimes people just go onto a website or an app and just start picking people. And typically they look for the, whatever they're typically attracted to, which is either tall, dark, and handsome, the blonde haired, blue eyed, whatever works for you, or whatever the typical criteria is. And what ends up happening is people attract basically the same personality types in different bodies. I was working with a client recently who submitted, and something else I do is a comparison of past loves, which is kind of cool. I was like, these two men could be, it was her ex-husband and a boyfriend, a previous boyfriend. I was like, they could have been brothers. She goes, really? So I showed her and she goes, oh yeah, they both had that same trait. So we go through what's in, right? So we go through what's important, what people want in a partner and a partnership beyond just the, the looks and the fun times. I mean, typically people are looking for long-term committed, potentially moving in together, a marriage, whatever. And you got to know what's involved with all that, and what your nice to haves are, what your deal breakers are, and what your must haves are. So we go through a whole assessment with that, see what's important, and then if they already have a profile, we'll evaluate that, see what's working, what's not, how to tweak it in a way that will help them attract the right people and repel the wrong ones. Mm-hmm. Which is huge. That makes the whole, that's like a good chunk of it right there. And then when they meet somebody, before they actually start getting connect with them, and if they're interested in them, have a face reading done of that person, so they know if that's the right person or not. It just helps them sort through people quicker. They don't waste time with the wrong people, again, like in my bio. And it's just, it cuts to the chase. I mean, it just weeds out people so much faster. And there's not the whole, sitting there for hours or days or months or whatever, sorting
totally.
matches.
Yeah. Clarity.
That can get overwhelming. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's get really specific here. What kind of information can you actually get from looking at a picture or somebody's face?
So I can tell how open someone is emotionally.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Wouldn't you want to know? If you want to share your innermost thoughts and feelings and emotions with someone, and you expect that in return, wouldn't you want to know who's capable of doing that for you, or has that quality? How people spend money. You want to know if someone's going to be generous or not, or if they're going to be, very conservative with their spending. Yeah. Good to know. If they're affectionate or not. If they engage well with people, if they're social, or if they're more,
you could see all this in somebody's face.
Oh yeah.
Can you give an example? How about the frugal one? Like somebody who's generous and somebody who's frugal.
Okay, so one of the features that talks about how someone spends money is the nostrils, the nose. They would say the nose knows about money. So
I'm loving this.
So the smaller or the more narrow the nostrils are, the less likely they're going to be to spend money. And the more open the nostrils are, it's like energy flowing out. Money does too. That's one of the features.
Can somebody, okay, this is like, I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here. It's like, okay, so you see somebody with narrow nostrils, and then they start doing all these workshops to be free with money, and they start shifting their relationship with money. Do their nostrils change?
That's a good question. Partially because I've never been asked that question before. I know that the facial features can change. Yeah. Like if you have surgery, or like if we change our eyebrows. Yeah. It doesn't always feel energetically a match with who we are. That's true. So true. That's one simple thing. But also if you have a facelift or something cosmetically done to your face, or plastic surgery or something, it'll change the energy of the emotion of what you're feeling. Yeah. Or like, for instance, I think I can say this. pointing fingers. But anyway, there's a relative who I hadn't seen for a long time, and she had gone through a really dark time in her life. And I saw her for the first time, probably 10, 15 years later, and she looked angry at a resting face.
Yep.
And I was like, wow. So it's
Yeah.
what we think that creates what shows up in our face. So she had it's almost like the emojis, the downturned smile,
Yeah.
the cold look in her eye, and the eyebrows that are, just like a scowl type of look. And then a few years later, I saw her life had changed and she was much more pleasant to look at. I thought, oh, she's happier, but it was that resting face too. So it changed. Now, that can be more of an awareness type of a thing. So you can do it intentionally. And the person who trained me initially said, you can just be aware if you've got a downward smile, if you just consciously hold it's changing the muscles and it's changing the thoughts and the energy in your face. It'll change your face. It'll change, the way that you hold
It
your
makes so
smile.
much sense. And
Yeah.
you are an expert at face reading. So, going back to the nostril thing, if we shift, our body does shift, our energy
Yes.
does shift, and it might be subtle, but you will see it compared to maybe
definitely.
somebody else who's looking at a profile picture. That it can be a little tricky, I guess, because if they have an old picture, which is not suggested, sister, if you're putting profile pictures, make sure you write that they're older and have some new ones. And same for the guys. I mean, they might have old pictures. So it's interesting because what we're seeing may not necessarily say it all. So when you work with people, I'm curious, how do you support them in their video chatting? Do you have little guidelines that you give them to look for? I know I'm putting you on the spot there, but I'm just curious, if you don't have a still picture, like how does somebody know?
So that's a good question. And I'm happy to answer that. So if they're on a video call with them, what they could do is just do a screen print.
Ooh.
But also, I have a list of questions that they can ask. And I have another coach a team of coaches also, because I have a whole program that addresses the different stages and different topics that I might not be good at. So I like to support women to set them up for success. But I can sort of, guide them through how to approach certain scenarios in a more effective way, in a more comfortable way. But I'm all for asking questions up front because we don't have time to wait.
Absolutely. Time is a huge thing, especially with women in the second half of life. And that is why I have this podcast, bringing on people like you, because we really don't want to waste time and we want to have extraordinary love lives. And if we do decide to invite somebody in, we darn well want it to be a good fit. So when you were talking about, what was the word you used? Stages, did you say? You said you had you had coaches doing different something. What was the word you used?
I don't remember what word I used, but different. I like to set people up for success. So different, I guess we can use the word stages. So different techniques and stages and strategies to kind of help them with the different things that come up. I mean,
throughout the dating, throughout their relationships. Wow.
Talking about money and staying positive and creating boundaries around what your values are so that you don't settle.
And you do this, tie the dot, connect the dots for me with face reading and how you show up differently with people. Because like, as you were just saying with your partner and shifting your relationship, you said you acted differently because you knew different things about him by virtue of looking at his face. So when somebody is in relationship or dating somebody, how does the face and the information you're getting from the face give you information as to how to engage with them differently?
So face reading is based on Chinese medicine, the 5 elements. And I will see the elements in their face. So what I can do is I'll ask them, if they're in a relationship with somebody, where the friction is coming up. So then I can look at their face and it's almost like a compatibility assessment. And I can say, okay, so in this sense, instead of approaching it this way, do this, or this is important to this person. And if you approach it this way and say these words or speak in this tone or this speed, they'll be more open to hearing you.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that
it's
makes
more
sense.
Fluid, more harmonious than, trying to get It's like if you talk to a really spiritual person really fast or really shallow, information, they're going to be like, oh, no time
Huh.
for this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if you have the heads up and certain things to
Yeah.
look for, you kind of have some insight into how they're wired. And for you too, do you start with the person you're coaching with their face first, or does it not matter what their face is? Like I heard you say, it's important to know deal breakers, deal makers, and
Right.
knowing your value system. Are you having them do homework, or are you actually looking at their face and telling them these kind of things?
So both. So I have them we go through an assessment together to find out what it is that's important to them in their life, and what their values are, what they want in a partner and in a partnership. And I do a face reading with them as well. So they can understand what can be seen in the face. They get the whole experience. And so they understand, okay, this is how I get information, or, how, when I'm working with them, how I can give them information from a photo of somebody else that they're interested in.
Yeah, no, it makes
So
sense.
I pull it together.
Yeah.
in that
So how
way.
do you work with people? Is it throughout time? Like, is it per person? Like, okay, they're online dating. They have like 3 people they're interested in. And do you just kind of go through it with them, or do you have kind of a system of how this unfolds? Because there's so many nuances. I mean, people are online and they're let's swipe left, swipe
Yeah.
right. I mean, like you
Yeah.
can't be there all the time. How does that work?
Right. So I have a program. I work one-on-one with people as well for a longer duration. And typically it takes 4 to 6 months when you're starting out, if you're not clear. Sometimes it can be, in certain situations, it can be faster, but typically it takes 4 to 6 months to meet somebody. So you've got to be committed and consistent with it. But I have a program also, it's a group program. We have one-on-one calls together as well, but go through again, find out, get the assessment from them, see what's important, tell them all the different steps of my program and why they're important, and then have the face reading, and then so they can experience it. And then as they're going through, we analyze their profile to make sure it's set up to support them to attract the right people and repel the wrong ones, how to engage with dating matches better. And I had a thought and it just slipped my mind.
That all sounded good to me.
And then, for the people that they're really interested in, we do, they submit photos, and we do a reading on that person.
I love it. It's
so they
just
know
amazing.
in advance, A, they've got information, but B, there's also a combination of that. They can make a decision whether it's something that they're interested in or not, and what it would take to make it work with that person. And if that's something they're interested in or not, or if it's going to be too much work and they're not interested, they can just move on. Or if there are any danger signs, this is another thing that's really, really big. There are 2 different options. One is I have something called quick hits, where they can submit a photo and I just submit a couple bullet points about the person's personality as it relates to a relationship, and if there are any danger signs to run from evident from the photo.
Yeah.
Or on a deeper note, we can let them know exactly what those danger signs are. Or if there's like high sex drive and they have a low sex drive, it can work. Good to know up front before you get emotionally involved with people.
Wow. So interesting. Because it's heartbreaking. It's like people so want to be in a healthy, wonderful relationship. And then they find somebody and they do have that deep connection. And then there's such struggle because they are so different and they're not meeting each other's needs. And so on and off, on and off. I mean, if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. And sometimes people stay too long because they're trying so hard because there is love. But if you're so different, like, wouldn't you want to know that up front so you're not constantly trying so hard to make something out of it that's just not going to happen. It is like a secret weapon, so to speak, to save time and to actually call in somebody that's a much greater fit. I just dig this. I think it's great. What you may not know is I'm a trained acupuncturist and I studied Chinese medicine for years. And we did do face reading. I had no idea that it was connected to that. And in Chinese medicine, we use face reading to diagnose somebody's systems, the body systems. And of course, it does talk a little bit about personality. I didn't go that deeply into it. I certainly wasn't trained like you. And with that said, it makes so much sense that you could look at somebody and see nuances and see dispositions. And the more you know about it, because you know so much, the ability to help women move through this very challenging journey of finding Mr. Right. So I think it's great. Any last hot tip that you have for this woman as she ventures into the online dating with a different perspective before you share your really awesome gift?
Yes. And so interesting. I didn't know you knew how
Yeah.
you know how to do that. Anyway,
well, I don't know how to do it. I'm going to be coming to you.
Well, I mean that you knew how to.
No, I know.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't approach it from your heart first. Approach it from your mind. Be really clear about what you're looking for first and approach it that way. Then if everything matches up, then allow your heart to open up.
I think that's an awesome tip. And I think that's an awesome tip no matter what. We get attached very quickly. We do. As women, we want to connect
Of course.
quickly. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And we do need to bring our minds with us and to have this tool along the way to choose differently, to choose wisely, to add into this mixture of should I or shouldn't I? I think that's wise words. I 100% agree. And so you have a special 10 question gift. Is that right?
I do. And it's 10 questions to ask any potential dating match before ever meeting in person.
Ooh.
What the 10 questions are and why they're important.
Okay. Well, it sounds great. Sounds absolutely great. We are going to make sure that gift is in the show notes and below the video for those of you that are on YouTube, as well as all of Julie's information on how to find her. And I also want to let you guys know that subscribing to the station and letting your friends know about this Midlife Love Out Loud podcast not only helps me reach more people, it helps your friends learn these secret techniques so they stop wasting time. So share away, subscribe, do all the things that are great for helping us get our word out there. And put some reviews there and messages. I read them. I want to support you. And if you are looking for some more support with online dating, in addition to learning about face reading, you could also grab my Midlife Love Guide to Successful Dating. That is a guide as well to help you with 7 steps to really save time as well. That's in the show notes as well. So you definitely want to grab that and get these tools in your toolbox, because sister, wasting time at this age is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. We want to make this stage of life the best ever. And that's why I had Julie come on. Julie, this was awesome. Awesome. I'm so excited that we had the opportunity to share this secret technique.
Awesome. Jeannie, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
You're so welcome. All right, soul sister, see you soon. Share away and have an amazing rest of your week. Mwah.